The hardest achievement in Hollow Knight is Steelheart, according to Steam Achievements, with only 3.6% of players achieving it. It's quite simple. You simply have to 100% the entire game without dying. But this is actually quite easy, and with just a little bit of know-how, you'll be able to have street cred that your friends don't. But you're not beating my street cred of beating Bow Path of Tail Lotus 100% before the balance patches came out. That's mine only, gatekeeping. But really, all you have to do to get this achievement with like zero effort is to follow 3 simple rules. The first rule being, real winners quit. Most people know about bench warping. It's pretty simple. If you quit the game and load your save back up, you are instantly teleported to the last bench you rested on. Most people use this for the teleporting, either for speedrunning or just so that they don't have to backtrack, but consider the following. Your health is refilled, so if you're ever in a boss fight and you're 1 hit away from death, pussy out. Immortality achieved. The second simple rule is to pick your battles. Now, the achievement says that you have to 100% the game, but that's actually a little bit misleading. To see what I'm talking about, all you have to do is find this other achievement, which says that you have to 112% complete the game. This is because the game considers DLC completion as added on, rather than part of the 100%. So, what this means is that you actually have about 12% of wiggle room. So if you're not entirely confident in your ability to do something, just don't do it. Or if you just find something fucking annoying, like Delicate Flower, I absolutely skipped that shit when I got this. Third rule is quite simple. Don't take stupid fucking risks. If you can fight a boss later, do it later after you've gotten like 30 different upgrades. If you're exploring an area and you're only 2 hits from death with no soul, maybe it's time to just go back to the bench and try again. You do well to have most of your early run mimic Fireborn's speedrun achievement guide. That's because of the fact that it does 2 things. 1, it places emphasis on not dying rather than just blitzing through as fast as you can. It'll let you focus on game progression first and foremost, which will unlock a bunch of upgrades, which will make you stronger, which will make you much more competent at fighting optional bosses and content, which will minimize your risk. Really, you're completely prepared to do it right now, but it might be more helpful for me to show you what I'm talking about rather than telling you. Now, because of the fact that I want this to be as authentic as possible, I've only got a couple mods running. I've got skins, obviously, and I've got the debug menu. Oh, and this. There's not much to talk about the tutorial area, just grab the geodeposits and also the charm. There's one right at the beginning, at the very left, so don't miss that or you'll have to do the Walk of Shame like I did. If you do a singular nail bounce here, you can get Fury of the Fallen, and make sure to hold left here. And that's the tutorial area. Then I talked to Elderbug because I'm not a monster, and headed down the well, and got hit by the first enemy I encountered. Then a scientist broke into my room in order to study how I could beat Pantheon 5, but still be garbage at this video game. Anyway, I pop by Cornifer, head right, open up the shortcut, unlock the stag, and then it's the False Knight. Apparently a whopping 30% of players haven't defeated the False Knight, so let me give you a couple tips and tricks. So what I'm doing here is I've walked towards him, and I'm attacking with the attack button, and it seems to have worked. Honestly, there's not much I can say about this fight, other than the fact that you can get a few cheeky hits in between phase transitions, and that you can hit the falling rocks towards them to get a couple extra nails worth of damage. Keep going left, you'll get Vengeful Spirit. Keep going left, you'll be in Green Path. There's not much to say about Green Path other than the fact that you should follow your sister, you should get the odd geodeposit and grub, and that Moss Knights, like many things in this game, are weak to pogoing. Then it's your second boss, the Vengefly King. You can do this cool Pogo into Vengeful Spirit combo, which I was able to do in order to take him out in 2 of those. Then unlock the stag and go fight Hornet. I myself bought a couple map-related items first, but you don't have to. Hornet is the first real skill check of the game, and I think it's mainly just because of the fact that you have to wait for heal windows. Most first-time players will panic, and then she'll just hit you out of it. She shouldn't be too much trouble, though, and then you'll get dash. You can also do a bench warp here to skip the long cutscene and go right back to the stag. Also, there's a large geodeposit guarded by 2 Moss Knights here. Remember, they're weak to pogoing. After breaking this breakable wall and picking up this wandering journal, I went to go get Thorns of Agony. I wouldn't really be using it, but it was in the area. I also encountered the Massive Moss Charger. Here's how you defeat the Massive Moss Charger. So as long as your attack button works, you should be fine. After getting some more geodeposits, I go into Fog Canyon. Fog Canyon sucks. Most of that is because of the fact that you can't get the map until you either have gotten Yzma's Tear or Shade Cloak. But that also means that most of the nonsense can be negated by just pulling up a map of the area on your second monitor. In my playthrough I went left to go check out Howling Wraiths, but I forgot the fact that you needed the Mantis Claw in order to get to it. But I got a Hallownest seal, so it wasn't all for nothing. And then I took the easy way into Fungal Wastes. Here's how you do it. You just go down and right, and then you go down and right, and then you're in Queen Station, and Cornifer is literally in the next room over. There's also a Hallownest seal here, which you can get with a bit of easy parkour. Get all the geo in the area, and then you can go fight some 2 big mushrooms. If you just focus on one of the mushrooms, you can kill one of them pretty easily, and by removing one of them, remove 80% of the challenge of the fight, and you're rewarded with a charm notch. And then you get to meet your favorite merchant of the entire playthrough. See, Leg Eater sells these things called fragile charms. They're extremely strong, but they break if you die, and then you have to go to him and pay him to repair them. But since you can't die anyway, those fragile charms start looking a little bit better. Now, the name of the game is Staying Alive, so Fragile Heart is the smart choice here. I am not a good role model. From here, you can go into the Mantis Village and get the Mantis Claw. You could technically fight the Mantis Lords right here, but with the Mantis Claw and Dash, the world really opens up, and I decided to go back and get a couple more upgrades. The Mantis Lords aren't exactly a hard fight, but remember, Rule 3. After getting some more geo, getting a Wandering Journal, and hitting a funny little jig while waiting for this door to go down, I decided to go further down and save Mila and get Dashmaster. Saving Mila will also unlock her house, which unlocks a Mask Shard. I then bench-warped back to Leg Eater in order to purchase Fragile Heart with the geo that I had accumulated. I then made my way up into Forgotten Crossroads, collected the geo there, and used my new Mantis Claw in order to get the Mask Shard there. Then I fought Gru's mother, saved Sly, and went to Salubra, and then bought a Charm Notch, allowing me to equip both of the Fragile Charms I own. Also got more geo and saved the Scrub. To be honest, 7 masks this early into the game is pretty damn good, and we're about to make it 8, because with a singular purchase at Sly's shop, and going back to Queen Station, we've got a full mask. I also stopped at Grubfather and got the secret Hallownest seal right here. Now with Mantis Claw in Stub, I went back to the Overgrown Mound in order to get Howling Wraiths. It's just a bunch of these guys, and they're not that hard, just don't forget to get this geodeposit right here. I also explored this little pogo area right here to get a couple extra geo and a soul vessel. Not to mention a grub. Then I climbed up to Howling Cliffs, where I got Baldur's Shell. After collecting some geo, a grub, and a King's Idol for good measure, I go to Nailmaster Motto, before taking the King's Pass back to Dirtmouth. After some more geo and a grub, I decide it's time to stop digging around and start making my way to the City of Tears. I'm an idiot and I keep trading hits with this enemy, but with 8 Mass Shards and Fragile Strength, I'm more than willing and able to. About to get even stronger too. After another geo deposit, I make my way to the Nailsmith. The first upgrade goes from 5 damage to 9 damage, almost double damage, so it's more than worth your while. With Fragile Strength, that's 14 damage, almost 3 times base damage. With 8 masks and 14 damage, you should be more than well enough prepared for what comes next. Go up the elevator and get yourself a Hallownest seal just for following the path. Then drop down here and you can unlock Lem's shop. I collect some more geo though and activate the cutscene. Hornet then tells me to go to Kingdom's Edge, but everyone in Hallownest will not say 10 words if 100 will do. Back up at Lem's, I'm able to see how much money I'm able to make by— Oh my god! Yeah, I don't think we'll be strapped for cash anytime soon. After all's said and done, we've got a cool 3k to our names. After getting some more geo, a grub, and getting trapped in a room for a bit, you can get a bench, Cornifer, and you can ignore Zote because he's not worth speaking to. Unlock the shortcut and you can get yourself a simple key, which will be a surprise tool that'll help us later. You can also get yourself another Wanderer's Journal, and by paying the toll at this elevator, get yourself another vessel fragment. After unlocking the Stag Station, it's time to actually properly explore the Soul Sanctum. Everyone knows these guys are annoying, but in my own opinion they're more annoying if you try to skip past them, so just take your time with them. I then go fight the Soul Warrior, and I honestly don't know what the hell happened here. I swear I'm good at this game. I've got the achievements to prove it, I've got the hours to prove it. I've beaten Nightmare King Grim on Radiant, but I think my brain just turned off for this entire thing. I'm able to mostly heal with the enemies that I come across, and then top myself off with all the enemies that spawn in the Spell Twister area. And then it's time to fight Soul Master. And compared to the Soul Warrior, I absolutely thrashed this guy. I actually checked after the fight to make sure I wasn't doing too much damage and cheating somehow, because he just died so quickly. Yeah, still at 14. After being flashbanged, faked out, and killing him for real, I get Desolate Dive. Go slightly upward to get a cool 300, and make your way out, making sure to get the grub and the Hallownest seal. From here you've got a couple options on where to go, but I like to go to Crystal Peaks, so that you can get a bunch of stuff right back to back to back. You can get Crystal Dash, and immediately use that Crystal Dash to get a Pale Ore before you're supposed to. You can get Descending Dark, and then drop right down this hole to get your Dream Nail. I suppose you can also get the Shopkeeper's Key, but that's less important. Either way, with my fat stacks, I go buy the Lumifly Lantern, and make my way to Crystal Peaks. After visiting Grubfather, of course. After getting some more geo, I make my way to the bench room and get this Rancid Egg. Then I make my way to Cornifer and ignore the fact that you're supposed to have double jump for this in order to get a King's Idol. I consider whether or not to fight Crystal Guardian at this point, but I decide after getting the key to do it for bench warping purposes. He's not exactly a hard fight, and 80% of the time all you have to do is, like, jump. After some more geo, a Wanderer's Journal, and another Rancid Egg, I make my way to the C-Dash area. Then I bench warp, and go up rather than down. After hopping off this Miner's Pickaxe, I'm able to get into this place, no double jump required. Be careful though, because right at the end you have to do another double jump skip, either by hopping over this fly, or hopping over one of its projectiles. After getting way too close to death after fighting this bog standard enemy, which I hate, we're able to get the Pale Ore. From here, I bench warp one more time and go past these stomping pillars in order to get Descending Dark. I've always hated this area, having flies with an attack that causes area denial that is larger than the platforms you can land on, which also spin when you touch them onto more spikes. It's just cancer the whole time. Get the grub, and Descending Dark is yours. And you can fall right down onto the Dream Nail.
Bruh.
From here, I use the Pale Ore I worked for to get another nail upgrade, to increase my total damage to 20. And I used the simple key that I collected earlier in order to go to the Royal Waterways. Well, after selling our stuff to Lem. Now, we're only going to do a couple things here. Get the bench, and then go immediately back up to get to Cornifer's area. Get some geo, get another Mass Shard, and make your way to the Dung Defender. Dung Defender is weak to DD in general, and we have the upgraded version, so this should be a cakewalk. And yeah, beat him with full health. After defeating him, we unlock 3 things. Yzma's Tear, Ancient Basin, and the second half of the City of Tears. I actually book it into the entranceway of the Ancient Basin for 2 things, another simple key, and a Pale Ore. After saving the grub, just beat these 2 guys, and the Pale Ore is yours. Then you can talk to Cornifer, lose all this geo because I didn't equip Gathering Swarm, and go to the Failed Vessels area. But we're not fighting him just yet. I'm just getting the simple key for now. Then I bench warp, and we're back in the Royal Waterways, where we can go get Yzma's Tear. After getting 2 more Rancid Eggs, we're stuck in a combat room for a bit, which is extremely easy, especially if you have spells that hit multiple enemies, and the Tear's ours. We've got a lot more we can do now, so I head to King Station, pay 300 Geo, and then I make that Geo back just by doing this and getting this Hollowness seal. But what we're going to do now is interact with Millabel's questline. See, she's actually the biggest source of Geo in the game. The highest sellable item we can get is an Arcane Egg, which is about 1,200, and if done properly, she gives 2,250. But it takes a lot to set her up. You need the second half of the City of Tears open, you need a free simple key, and you need 4,500 Geo. Luckily, we almost have all of those things. Well, technically you need 100 more to open an account, so I spent a little bit of time farming this guy, and now we have it. From here, all we have to do is sell our Hollowness seal to Lem, and the trip there actually makes up the extra 50 that we need in order to get it. From here, we give her all of our money, rest at a bench, check back in on her to make sure that she's left, then we go back to King Station and open up the Pleasure House. From here, we can find her in the bathhouse and just hit her until she gives us back all our money with interest. Well, now I'm rich. I'm not sure what the rich do, actually. So the first thing I tried was got mad that I didn't have even more money, and I got this Geo deposit. After that, I decided to waste it instead of giving it to someone who needs it more, and threw it all in this fountain. Well, technically before that I stopped at Sly's and bought a bunch of stuff. I bought all of the mask fragments except one, a vessel fragment in order to round myself off, a simple key so that I can go sell my rancid eggs, I'll do that later, and I will go round it off with Gathering Swarm. The reason I didn't buy the last mask shard is because of the fact that I don't want to do Delicate Flower. Delicate Flower is necessary for completion, but it's necessary for completion because it gives a mask shard. So, if I'm giving up on that, I can also give up on 3 more mass shards that I don't feel like doing, so I decided to save my money. Back at the fountain though, we go to the Broken Vessels boss room and go fight him. He wasn't really a challenge, this one move leaves him pretty relatively open, so you can just wail on him. And now we have double jump. Some Geo and a grub later, I make my way to the Stag Station, but I don't actually have enough money to open it, so I sit at the bench and decide once I do, I'll just bench warp to it and open it up from there. On the way up, I grab another smaller Geo deposit and this Whispering Root, and by killing these enemies, I now have 300 Geo. From here, we have most of our movement upgrades and most of the areas unlocked, so we have a lot of options on where to go. I decide to go to Deep Nest because it has a lot for us. It's got a Dreamer, it's got the Tram Key, and it's got a Palor, guarded by Nosk. First though, I detour here, and after getting a grub and some seriously high-stakes parkour, I get the Spore Shroom. Then it's a simple trip to Mantis Village, and to get all the Geo deposits in it, and to go fight the Mantis Lords. Now, we're a little over-leveled for this fight, so let's see how it goes. And that was the Mantis Lords. I go into Deep Nest and then immediately remember there are rewards for that fight. I get Mark of Pride, 600 Geo, and a Hollowness seal. Wow, they really give you 1,000 Geo for that. I talk to Cornifer, get the map, get Hopelessly Lost, you know, Deep Nest stuff. After some Geo deposits, I actually get where I needed to go, and I go to fight Nosk. Nosk should be an easy fight as long as you're playing it safe. There is a safe spot right at the bottom left of the arena. I just played like an idiot, mainly because I had the health and I wanted the fight to be over faster, so I kept chasing him down. But the Palor is ours. If you're keeping track, that means that we have 2, so now all we need is the money. After bench warping, we make our way left, 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 and more left, and eventually we get to the village. Although along the way we did get some Geo, some grubs, and some essence. I unlock the stag, and then sit on the trap, and then blindly feel my way through the beast den, and finally get to Hera, and take down our first Dreamer. We also get a free Hollowness seal right at the beginning, so that's pretty nifty. After getting lost, wishing I had Wayward Compass on, and falling into a couple spike traps, we actually meet Galleon while looking for the failed tramway. I remember this guy actually being pretty hard, but we've got a lot of health and 2 nail upgrades. Still though, I take the time to go left and get the free lifeblood right next to the boss fight. My main strategy was to hit him with as much nail as possible to build up soul for Howling Rays in the second and third phases of the fight. It ended up working, but it should be noted that if I didn't get the lifeblood, I would have been at 1 HP at the end of that fight, so maybe take that with more caution than I did. That gives us a cool 200 essence though, so that's nice. And eventually we get to where we need to go and get the tram pass. After a quick bench warp, we go to the Stag and go to King Station, where we sell all our items to Lem, and then we have enough money for another nail upgrade. That's 3 out of 4 upgrades. Then I go to Dirtmouth and get the Whispering Root in Infected Crossroads. By this point I have 300 essence. I also go visit Grubfather, and alongside a bunch of money, he gives me Grub Song. And another Rancid Egg. The point of going here, though, is so that we can get to Fog Canyon through the Infected Crossroads path, because directly below it is another Charm Notch. We just have to do a couple bits of parkour. There's also a hidden wall here where you can get another Hallownest seal. After being too risky with that parkour section, I'm actually 1 hit away from death if I get hit by another 2-mask explosion, but luckily picking up the Charm Notch heals me to full. From here, we can go left, and get Cornifer, and go visit Monomom. Umu isn't much to talk about. The only reason why we waited this long is so that we'd have as many nail upgrades as possible, because we want as little cycles as possible, so that we have to fight Umu less. 2 Dreamers down. After getting the grub right next to the archives, I make my way to King Station to turn 2 out of 3 into 3 out of 3. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I honestly don't like the Watcher Knights fight. And I liked it even less before I realized that DD gave you a whole lot of invincibility. Like, what option does my character have other than to go invincible at this point? Because I can't see it. The Watcher Knights actually got me to quit out. I got to a singular mass shard multiple times. 3rd time was the charm, though, after I decided to stop being an idiot and take off Wayward Compass and, actually put on Grub Song. From here, though, the Dreamers are done. You can actually just go to the Hollow Knight right now. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. After opening the Black Egg Temple, we were able to check our game completion. Oh nice, 50%. Why the fuck do I have 30,000 Rancid Eggs?
Why the fuck is Give Rancid Eggs set to joystick button 0?
Okay, I guess I can't sell Rancid Eggs or else people will accuse me of cheating. Most people who have fought the Radiants know this, but the Hollow Knight on his own isn't actually all that hard. He's super easy, and once you get to the 3rd phase of the fight, he's basically done. I played like an idiot here, and by the time I remembered, oh yeah, pogoing him is a thing, he was basically already destroyed. To be fair though, there are a lot of people that are able to beat him with way less, and we have 9 HP and 3 nail upgrades. And that's it. You've just completed a Steel Soul run. Congrats. If you did it exactly the way I did it, it counted as a speed run too. Like, speed run 2. So yeah, there's gonna be a part 2 where we get the rest of the game completion. That's the end of the video. If you're watching this video while you're eating lunch and dinner, hope you had a good meal.